G'day viewers, how you doing? This is a partner tutorial to the 218 or the DB BR 218 tutorial that I just did, because at the other end of that thing there's a cab car. There's the DB Bnrdzf 463 diesel. So I'm sure you're familiar with the other one, so let's just put in the BNR. So there's the non-diesel version, which is for electric trains, and there's this new diesel version. So we'll just choose that one, and Hamburg Lübeck naturally, and we'll do this Kiel Hauptbahnhof to Hamburg Hauptbahnhof. We won't run the whole thing because this is a tutorial, and I know the YouTube attention span is about 8 minutes. So there you go. Let's jump in here and get set up. So looking on the outside, first up, we have got our cab car. So we need to do a few things there with tail lights and the like. Down the other end of this train, there will be the noise producer, the DB BR 218. All right, up here in the cab, let's start off. Let's get our reverser and get that into forwards, and we'll get our brake key in as well. We can release the brakes because the direct brake is on hold. We can open our windows naturally enough. We can get our doors open. I've just used the Y key like I normally do, but you can of course use the controls on the desk should you wish. Now let's just jump out of the chair because there's a couple of things to go and do up here. Let's turn on our destination board light on the front of the train and change our signal lights over to headlights. And we want to turn on PZB as well, which is, there it is, that switch. There is one labelled CFA up here, which is slightly confusing because you actually hop back in the chair, you turn on CFA down here with a valve. So PZB is one of the safety systems. CFA is the one that every now and again pokes you in the head and goes, "Oi, you awake?" Okay, what else do we need to do in here? We need to talk about some stuff. Okay, we've got contact signaler on the phone here. With our wipers, you can either run them manually or you can turn them on with the switches here. So one for the left, one for the right. You can also adjust the speed, just move over a little bit. There's a knob, so just turn that off. You could hear it running there. I didn't show it, but you could hear it. And we want train line power. Let's just figure out where that is. There it is, transmission power, which turns on the diesel hydraulic at the other end. Train line power has defaulted to on in this cab car, so that means the lights are on in the carriages. We don't really need our desk light, but if you want it, you can have it. Signal lights, you can have normal or reduced. We normally run on normal. CFA indicator test we won't worry about, and we've got our door controls. We'll turn our instrument lights on though. I think that's about all we have to do down there. Our PZB controls with acknowledge, release and override as normal here, or you can use your keys of course, and CFA acknowledge here on the big button. Your CFA light, to warn you, is up there as usual. I have discovered that at times it flickers a bit, so you only acknowledge when it's hard on. Alright, the other indicators that we have here, there's a yellow light that comes on when the brakes are on, and there's the gear indicator which goes on and off with a mind of its own, it seems. Alright, let's release the direct brake, quickly check outside. We have got the correct lights on out there. We have the German clown horn, and my rail driver was already on throttle 5 there, so we'll just throttle this up one at a time. You don't have to be super gentle with it like you do if it's the electric version of this, because you haven't got a circuit breaker to blow. We are in monitoring. We are allowed to release according to the HUD, so we will. And just, you can see what I mean about the CFA light flickering away happily. That doesn't mean anything, it just does it. My guess would be is it's actually being affected by shadows from outside, so it's probably a bug. I can't remember if the electric version of it did that too. I think it had something funny that happened on that display over there, but this one doesn't seem to do that. We're allowed up to 60. CFA's just come on, so I'll acknowledge that. Normal train drivers acknowledge it as soon as the light comes on. You'll notice I didn't until the sound came because I was talking to you. I'm not going to pretend I'm good at acknowledge it when the light comes on before it sounds, but that's what you're meant to do. This isn't a PZB tutorial, so in this tutorial I just need to tell you how to turn it on. If you want a PZB tutorial, there's plenty of them around, and I'm not going to pretend to be fantastic at PZB by any means. I generally do what the HUD tells me to do. There's CIFA again. I've acknowledged that with the Q key. You can of course use circle or B on your controller as normal if you're on a PlayStation or Xbox, or you're just using one of those controllers with your PC, which you of course you can do. You can also use the alert button on the rail driver, of course, if you have a rail driver. I am going to let this drive. I'm going to let CIFA stop the train this time, so we can see how to reset from that. There we go. So hands off. We'll wait for CIFA to stop things. It will very soon. There we go. We've cut out power. The yellow lights have come on and the brakes have come on. So first thing to do is throttle back to 0. It's quite a violent brake. And then acknowledge CIFA. And now we have to wait for the brakes to release. So you can watch the yellow needle over here. You can see that the train brake on this one is pumping the line back up again. It'll get up to about 5 bar or so. There we go. And now the brakes are starting to release. You wait for that needle to get down near 0. And then we'll be able to accelerate again. To show the rest of the controls. We should be able to accelerate now. Let's just get it into the second notch. Just to give it a bit of oomph because we're going uphill. And we are starting to move. So there we go. That's all it takes to reset from CIFA. It's the same if you use this emergency brake valve. You just put it back to the released position, or if you do an emergency brake application with the handle, releasing it is exactly the same. And again, if PZB bites you, same deal. Do whatever you need to do to acknowledge and release PZB. Release if you need to. Don't always do that. And treat the brakes the same way. Alright, now what about a normal service brake? See if I come on again there, so acknowledge that. Normal service brake, simple enough. You throttle back to 0. Now you have to wait for a little while because it can take up to 25 seconds to stop the diesel hydraulic at the other end powering. There we go, and we can now brake. I'm only assuming that's what the beep means, but it seems to be. So we're just doing a normal service brake. It brakes quite hard when you're braking from the cab car. I think it actually brakes harder. CIFA again. I think it brakes harder with the cab car than it does if you're braking from the locomotive, which is interesting. Releasing the brakes is just a matter of putting them back to the release position. And similarly, as the brake cylinder pressure needle gets down towards 0, you can start to power up. If you power up before then, you will be interlocked and you won't be able to move, and you'll probably start rolling if you're going uphill. So don't be too eager to power up. Everything on railways, it's called hurry up and wait, because nothing on a railway happens in a hurry. If you find yourself reacting to something in a hurry, then you probably shouldn't be. You should probably be thinking about it. Alright, I think that's about all I really need to show you for this tutorial, and we're up at about 8 minutes, which is in fact the YouTube extension span, so we'll leave it there and we'll have a nice little N-Wagon heading off into the distance. I won't show you the other features of the M-Wagon because they're exactly the same as the electric counterparts, and there goes the characteristically noisy 218. So that's about it for this tutorial. We'll leave this here. If you've got any questions, as usual, leave them in the comments and I'll try and help you out. And if you like, please like and subscribe for more stuff just like this. Alrighty, have fun folks. See you later. Bye now.